Welcome to the GPS to Early Success podcast, where you'll discover career and life secrets from those who have successfully navigated the road before you. Buckle up and let's get to it. All right, welcome to another episode of the GPS show, your GPS to early success. Today, we have Zuri Godfrey. Zuri Godfrey is an associate product marketing manager at Google. He is a business management graduate of and former student athlete at Howard University. His personal mission is to be a man who puts God first, family second, is a problem solver, smart worker, and servant leader. He is a social entrepreneur that has had internships with ESPN in sports marketing, Google in brand strategy, and PwC in management consulting, and externships with Facebook in social media market intelligence, and the NFL in business development. In regard to his entrepreneurial endeavors, he is the founder and CEO of buildandbrandyou, a holistic branding company, and Spread the Word, a Christian clothing company. Zuri was born and raised in Hampton, Virginia. Zuri, welcome to the GPS show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you for having me, Tony. Looking forward to the opportunity to really provide my background, share my story, and hopefully inspire and help others in doing so.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're here for. Inspire those young people to greatness. So yeah, let's talk a little bit. So first let's talk about how I found you. So, you and I are both big fans of LinkedIn, and I was just cruising LinkedIn, looking for various career opportunities, for my students and such. And I come across this post where you are announcing your first day as an official Google employee and a recent graduate of Howard. And I look down at the like count, and it's 111,000 likes. It's like, whoa, there's something special about this guy. I need to talk to him and see what he's got going on. So that's how we got here. But why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about your journey, say maybe from high school to Google?
Yeah, so from high school to Google, I would say honestly, it really started first business experience, if you will, was definitely in high school through a program that you are a part of, or academy that you're a part of as well, Young Entrepreneurs Academy, yeah, for short. And in that, senior in high school, had just really made the decision that business is something I want to pursue. From my family upbringing, seeing them have their own small businesses and their ventures, it definitely was something that I was interested in and always around. So therefore, my senior year, my mom was like, you have to do this academy, this program. So we applied, I got in. And really what it entailed is me being able to brainstorm an idea that can help either users, the community, a mix of the two. And from that, having an idea that was related to my background, which is in sports, pitched the business, ended up coming in runner-up and within my cohort in the Peninsula District in Hampton, Virginia. And that really was just the first taste of business, and really gave me the foundational skills, soft skills, presentation skills, received funding from investors. So I started to learn how that worked and what needed to go on there in order to get that. So that was a first experience and stepping stone in my journey, and which is what led me to actually major in business management at Howard University. So
right. Just what was that first YEA project that you submitted?
Yeah, so it was, and it's actually something that I may end up still doing, and because another thing that is tied and near and dear to my journey, is tied to my journey, is me being a walk-on student athlete at Howard, and ended up earning an athletic scholarship, which was my goal. But again, it always isn't pretty from the start. So yeah, I said that to say the business was stars. So it was student athlete readiness system or service or something like that. I forgot what the S was, but It was basically providing academic nutrition and training programs for middle and high school student athletes with the in mind and the goal in mind of them earning academic and athletic scholarships. So that was
That sounds like a great program. You definitely got to launch that someday.
yeah, that's definitely something that's on the back burner, but still is in the back of my head for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And plus the ROI, the return on investment's got to be huge, right? Whatever little amount they pay you to coach them through that, compare it to a full ride scholarship to a college, at almost 100,000 a year. Or I'm
Yeah,
sorry, $100,000 total probably.
right.
Whatever you charge them would definitely be worth the money.
And what's actually so crazy now that you said that, I actually do something similar now with Build and Brand You, but it's for instead of the return on investment being a scholarship, it's for college students, and the return on investment being internships and full time offers. So I'm sure we'll get more into that later.
Right, right. Yeah, the ROI on a full time job at Google has got to be beautiful.
Trust me, it is. I just had my first check, and it's like, wow.
That's awesome, man. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. But yeah,
All right.
back to my story. So senior year, yeah, which Young Entrepreneurs Academy is what really made me major in business management at Howard. So majored in business management at Howard. Quick summation of my 4 years there. Really blessed to as a freshman really utilize LinkedIn and build my brand there and participate in opportunities with the Thurgood Marshall College Fund my freshman year, which is all around innovation and entrepreneurship. But then also just really learning and delving deep into internships. As a freshman, I interned with the startup consulting firm, and I was a technology consultant there. And it was something very small, very minuscule, but it just provided me some work experience and was a great start, a small
Yeah.
start.
It'll look great on the resume.
Right. And most people look at my resume now and see all the big brands, but they don't necessarily see what it took back in the day, those smaller programs, those smaller experiences with smaller companies are always a stepping stone for me. And
Mm-hmm.
so freshman year was doing that, and really as a whole, played football at Howard all 4 years, was able and fortunate enough to intern with that startup consulting firm, but then also a bigger consulting firm, PwC. And then took a switch from consulting to marketing, which I'm in now full time. But my junior year, interned with Google doing brand strategy, which sat under their marketing organization. And yeah, after graduating, I interned with ESPN to sort of wrap off my internships and did sports marketing with them, which was amazing. And yeah, and I also in my senior year, just to double back a little bit, I really internships are great, which most internships are paid, especially nowadays with more notable companies. But one thing that I took advantage of, and I didn't let the monetary aspect discourage me, is doing externships. So I did two externships that were unpaid, one with the NFL and one with Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And those two provided a lot of great connections, a lot of meaningful experiences. I was able to attend the draft and work the NFL draft. So yeah, I mean that really wraps up my
Yeah.
career from high
So,
school.
so internships, I think, are more common than externships. Is the only difference paid versus not paid, or is there other differences?
Yeah, I'll say there's one other difference, and it's really duration. So an externship really it can be very short or it could be very long. So, but your internships are normally between 6 to 12 weeks. And for instance, my externship with Facebook was only 5 weeks, but my externship with the NFL spanned over a course of almost half a year. But
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't as it wasn't as recurring from a weekly standpoint. There wasn't a lot of meetings throughout those months with the NFL.
Okay. But so you recommend these unpaid externships just to boost up your resume, right?
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, the way I looked at it is it and it really wasn't. to boost my resume. It was more so, well, two things that I'm really into now is one, taking advantage of the opportunity to build connections and gain knowledge. And then the second thing is to leverage my blessings, those opportunities to be blessings to others, to share to share those opportunities with others and help others get in those opportunities that I were in. It was a mouthful, but
Yeah,
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 hopefully that track.
yeah. I got that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. Goes by Gary V. He's
Mm-hmm.
a motivational speaker and entrepreneur, and um, I'd always heard the phrase "think win-win," which again is one of those 7 habits that I know we're both fans of. But he refers to it as 51-49. So
Mm,
not only should it be win-win, but if you really want to build some good relationships, you want to um, make sure the other party gets 51% of the value or more.
right.
And then that way, they see you as a giver, they see you as a real asset to their network, and they want to keep doing business with you.
Right. No, I like that. 51-49.
Yeah. So where were we in your story?
Yeah, so pretty much just wrapping up there, to be honest. So after doing an internship with ESPN, right after I graduated, just did took advantage of remote work, virtual life, COVID, and traveled a lot. As things opened up, I got vaccinated. Just really been traveling a lot, and I'm now in my third week, wrapping off my third week with Google as an associate product marketing manager.
That's wonderful. Now I worked for a .com back in 1999 and 2000, and I remember the crazy perks of like they would feed us every day, and so give me some of the perks that Google gives you.
Wow. I mean, the food, you said it. The food is one thing, man, to be honest with you. And I would say now, since they were home for right now, return to office is January 2022, which is
Hmm.
public. But yeah, since we're home, that perk of food is a way. But one thing I will say is, and I think a lot of companies started to lean towards this a little bit more, but Google has been like this from the jump, is attire. If I was working in investment banking or in finance or something more very button up, then I would have to be on Zooms, on Google Meets with suits and
Hmm.
yeah, so and blazers and things of that sort. So that's one thing I appreciate is just being able to wake up, put on whatever I want to put on, and still come to work.
Yeah, yeah, to get the job done. Yeah, I remember they used to feed us because every hour or two we spent off site at a restaurant was time we weren't working, so they would just feed us really well so we could just eat at our desk and keep moving.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and what about, do you still have like ping pong tables and pool tables and such and all that for you to take little mini breaks?
Yep. The massages are still a thing as well. Free massages.
No, seriously?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It might feel like bragging, but what we're trying to do is motivate our listeners to work hard so they end up in a cool place like that where they can really enjoy their job. So
Exactly. And yeah, what's really ironic is, of course, at any job you're gonna put in a lot of work, right? But just putting in the work at Google is just totally different because of the perks that we just talked about, but also because of the billion users that we help on a day-to-day basis. So
oh, absolutely.
yeah, it's really bigger than myself, bigger than any one Googler.
I mean, I've been a Google fan forever. I'm an Android user. I love Google Maps. I love Gmail, Google Calendar. It's all synchronizes beautifully. And um, but yeah, it's funny. I remember. So I was working and living in the Bay Area in my mid 20s in the mid 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and Silicon Graphics was the former tenant of the Googleplex campus, and they made really nice high end computer monitors, but apparently I don't know, somehow they disappeared, and then this is like 96, 97. Then this brand new little company called Google moves into this giant Silicon Graphics campus, and we're like, who the heck are you, and what do you need all that space for?
But
But yeah, obviously they had a plan, and the plan worked. But let's see. Okay, so let's talk about so rewind to high school for a minute. I mean, it sounds like you've done a lot of things right, you know, to get where you are as young as you are. And I think you've highlighted some of those. I mean, feel free to highlight a couple more if you could think of things you did right. But also, what else? Like, what did you either do wrong, or could you have done a little better? You know, to accelerate your success even more, just to help our listeners.
yeah, no, I would say one, everything happens for a reason for sure. And then, but really, as far as what I could have done better, I think honestly, and this is more of a thing. This is I'm now aware of this because of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
but take advantage of being able to be in person in whatever setting, whether it's sports, where my senior season for college was cut from however many games it was going to be, 8 plus or 10 plus, to only being able to play two games my last football season. The last time I'll probably ever strap up the cleats and play
Mm-hmm.
tackle football. So just really just take advantage of every in-person interaction that you can get. And whether it's from a school standpoint, I wasn't able to finish my senior year at college, and so
Mm-hmm.
that was hard. But yeah, just really adapting. To be honest, man, that again going back to my belief, everything happens for a reason. I'm a man of faith, so that's also something that keeps me grounded. It's not too high because I know all of it could be taken away, and it's you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
just staying grounded, not taking anything for granted, trying not to. Of course, we're all human, so we're gonna take some things for granted, and yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna.
Gratitude is very important.
It
So
is.
is humility. Yeah.
It is, man.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. My younger daughter, um, her senior year of high school was all virtual, so she missed out on that the way you missed out on your senior year of college.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like you said, everything happens for a reason, and again, who knows? All these wonderful things that have happened to you since, you know, maybe they might have happened differently or not at all if there were different circumstances.
No, I agree with that. I mean, especially the two externships with one with NFL and one with Facebook. Had that been in person, I wouldn't be able to do it because it was during actually when I would have had football season. So,
Hmm. Okay, so those externships were virtual.
yep.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So our listeners should be looking for both in-person and virtual internships and externships. That's good. And then your college days. Is there any way you could have maximized your opportunities any better?
Hmm. Honestly, the same thing, and I guess what I was saying was actually tailored towards college, just taking advantage of
Okay.
in person interaction because that's when COVID happened when we was forced to go home, and yeah, just taking full advantage of every opportunity that you get every day, every time that you're breathing. It can
Right.
seem overwhelming, but again, pace yourself and know who you are, know what you want to accomplish, and strive for even greater than that because you want to be
Yeah.
in a where you're uncomfortable because that's where
N-
growth is going to occur.
Now, where do you seek out your in-person interactions? Are you an active networker?
Yeah, and for me, networking is all about building transformational rather, and authentic relationships. And so, yeah, it's a multitude of things, and really where it starts is with LinkedIn, building those
Mm-hmm.
there, fostering them, and really, to be honest with you, the way it works, and especially now everyone is so eager to go back in person, and a lot of those connections I've built. and fostered over COVID and things of that sort. If we're in each other's city or what have you, or if there's a business function or even just a dinner or what have you, just being able to connect in person is also valuable as well. But yeah, making connections in person even before LinkedIn, and utilizing LinkedIn as a resource,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah, I use it. I go both directions with it. Sometimes I'll meet somebody in person first, and then
Mhm.
I'll reach out, connect on LinkedIn. It just kind of helps me keep in touch with them. And
Right.
sometimes I'll meet, like with me and you. I met you first on LinkedIn, and now here we are meeting on Zoom. And maybe
Right.
someday we'll meet in person if you're ever in Dallas or I'm ever in San Francisco, wherever you end up. but
Exactly. And that's honestly how it works, man.
yeah, yeah, this is the new world of virtual relationships. It's pretty cool. All right, so we talked a little bit about the 7 habits. Do you have a favorite or two you'd like to share, and why they're important to you?
Yeah, it would have to be to begin with the end in mind, man. And that I take that from a faith standpoint on a
Hmm.
day-to-day basis, but also from a personal and professional perspective as well. Just knowing that thinking long term, but then also the work that you do now in the interim, have the vision of what the outcome could be. And that way the work wouldn't go in vain. If there isn't an outcome, a desired outcome that you're striving and thriving for, then more times than not, you're gonna either do it lackluster, or you're not gonna be as passionate about it, or you're not gonna excel in it, or you're not gonna be as productive in it, and the list can go on. So
Or you might just quit altogether because you can't keep the motivation to finish, right?
exactly, exactly. So that's
Yeah,
definitely my favorite.
that's
And that,
good. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes people will call that, remembering your why. Like, why am I doing this? Am I doing it to support my family? Am I doing this to make a better future for myself? Because yeah, it's a lot of times we get stuck in a rut, right? Where the work we're doing is not very fun. The boss we have is not treating us very well. But if you can remember down the road, this is all going to pay off, and it helps you keep moving forward.
I'm glad you said that, man, because really a coach of mine, my freshman or sophomore year, really introduced that to me. What's your why? He had everybody go up and explain their why, man. And so that's actually something that has grounded me as well. And your why changes as different
Mm-hmm.
and different seasons take place in your life. Your why will change, and it's relatable to whatever you make it. Why do you play football? Why do you exist? Why do you wake up and work every day? So yeah, no, I definitely am a firm believer in really taking heed to and being aware of your why.
That's great, man. You have so much wisdom for your age, man. I'm telling you, I didn't learn a lot of this. I'm 51 years old now. I didn't learn most of this till my mid 30s in some corporate training they made me go to. Because I was in corporate marketing before I got into education. I worked for FedEx and Nokia and a couple other big companies, and um, yeah, nobody taught me any of this stuff early on. In fact, back then they were teaching fake it till you make it, and that's the worst advice ever. I mean, yeah, because number one, you end up feeling like you're faking it for a really long time. It keeps you from asking questions, which is what you should be doing in your first couple of years, is asking lots of questions,
Right.
not faking like you know the answer.
And sometimes faking like you're making it. If you're really faking it, more times than not, you're not 100% faking it.
Right.
100% faking it, then you probably wouldn't be in that position. You're in that
Yeah.
position for a reason. So, and I think the fake it till you make it thing is really where the imposter syndrome, for,
Exactly. Exactly. That's so painful.
and that's where that comes from for sure.
Yeah, whoever made up "fake it till you make it" had good intentions. They were trying to help people boost their self confidence if they felt like they weren't really ready.
All right.
But I think the better advice is be humble, be smart, ask smart questions. Provide as much value as you can with the skills you have at the moment. But
Yeah.
anytime you don't know something, ask somebody, and that's how you're going to grow and become more valuable overall. I mean,
Yeah.
never just pretending that you already know something is just going to bite you in the rear at some point.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't know what you don't know. So even taking that a step further, really, okay, great. You don't know it, but I would add in an interim or a second step before asking someone is really try to find the information on your own. You can Google it. You see what I did there? You can Google it.
Nice plug for your new employer.
You can Google it. And then if you can't find it or it's
Yeah.
still clear, then you go ask.
Yeah, absolutely. That's excellent advice. In fact, I had a student in my office recently who was you know about to apply for an internship with a very large company, and I told him to okay, well, let's go to their homepage and look for the careers button, and then under careers look for like a subsection for internships, and he glanced at the homepage for about 5 seconds and then turned it around to me and said, "Where is it?" And I said, "Man, I'm gonna have to give you some tough love. Find it yourself."
But
Because if you go to your boss after 5 seconds and ask them to solve the problem they're paying you to solve, you're fired.
and you always need to when you ask a question, and this is I guess more so work related than in everyday life and everyday conversation. But if I'm asking you a question, I should have done something to try to figure out the answer. And so when I go to ask you the question, it should be, hey, I did X, Y, and Z, but I couldn't find out the answer to insert question. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've had some excellent training, man, along the way. I don't know. I don't know if you're your football coaches or professors or what, but you've gotten a lot of good advice early on, which is great for you.
thank you, man. It's really just goes back to being trying to be holistic and being a sponge. That's what something that I learned and just really grabbing from every which way.
Oh man, I love that word sponge. Yeah, so you got to be curious, right? You got to always be like, what can I do next that will improve my future, right? Just keep asking yourself that question.
Exactly. Yeah. Intellectual curiosity is definitely something that a skill that I'm trying to hone and really be intentional about.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have some natural instincts for it, but again, being intentional will always take it to the next level.
I agree.
Man, that's great. That's good. Um, all right. So I wanted to wrap up with you talking about your company that you run as kind of a side gig, right?
Yep.
But before we go there, is there any other bits of wisdom you want to pass on before we close up with your business?
Yeah. What I would say is to the viewers and the audience listening and watching and or watching right now is to really be your own self. You can use social media in a lot of ways. Use it to your betterment. Don't use it as a comparison mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Be yourself. Stay true to yourself. Find yourself. Know your why. Know your purpose. Know what you're passionate about, and be driven by that. Be driven by your purpose, by your passion. Because ultimately those two things can help you and actually end up making you profit in the long haul. So just be true to yourself, be self-aware, being very intentional with your day-to-day life and what you do, what you put your name to, what you post about, what you say out your mouth. Be very intentional about that. So stay true to yourself and be intentional.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful advice. I mean, somebody who's passionate about a particular task will always be better at that task than somebody who's not. So
Right.
even if the other person's a little bit smarter, a little bit higher IQ, whatever, if they're not passionate about it, they'll get beat by the passionate guy every time.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. All right, so Tell me about your company. It sounds really cool. I'm looking forward to hearing what that does, and maybe some of our listeners could benefit from it.
Oh, absolutely. So Build and Brand You is a holistic branding company. And what that is broken down into three pillars. And even before getting into the three pillars, just a quick backstory as to how it came about to be.
Mm-hmm.
In my freshman and sophomore year at Howard University, I really was trying to be intentional and utilizing LinkedIn, as I said earlier in the call or in the talk, in the conversation. And I was able to receive a lot of wins, a lot of smaller wins, and I would brand and market myself and post about them on LinkedIn and talk about them and always be very present in class on campus at Howard University in the School of Business. And slowly but surely, a lot of people just started reaching out to me like, "Hey, can you help me with with my resume? Can you help me prepare for this interview that I have? Hey, I saw you talking to so and so. Can you connect me with them? Can you connect me with recruiters at companies, things of that sort?" And so
Mm-hmm.
I started to do that really, say sophomore year. Say about second semester sophomore year, I really started to pick up on that, and it took up a lot of time. I didn't really realize how much time it was taking up because I was doing it just because I enjoyed doing it and I loved it. But then it started to take up a lot of time, and a lot of people started to say, "Hey, Zuri, you should monetize this." And I was like, "Nah, I'm not looking to do that. I just really want to help and really not have any strings attached to it from a monetary standpoint." And so I just kept doing it, and then COVID hit. So it's like, wow, perfect time to monetize this, to name it, claim it, brand it, market it, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. And as of March 2020, we're building Brand You. So I've been able to build a team, establish us as an LLC, and then going back into our pillars. One is career identification. So as we know, for our target audience, whether that's mainly college students, but also high school students, also athletes, whether in high school or college, a lot of times that those customer segments don't necessarily know what they want to do from a career standpoint. So we want to provide them that clarity. And how we do that is through our workshops. So we have paid workshops that take them through those three P's that I just talked about. So purpose, passion, and then the last P is profit. And so we take them through those intensive courses, exercises where we really pick their brain and ask the hard questions, do some different analyses, and as a result, they'll come away with very specific and personalized career opportunity that they should pursue and that we recommend and would help them pursue. And so up that journey, starting with career identification, then we have group mentorship, and clients can come to us either for career identification, group mentorship, or brand development, which I'll talk about last, and that's the third pillar. Or it can be a journey. It can figure out the career that they want and then go to the mentorship program and get mentorship directly for that career interest that they now have and have found, and we have helped identify for them. And so in that group mentorship program, we're focused on our DNA model development, and that's through service workshops, whether it's resume, social media, LinkedIn, etc. And then the N is networking, so building relationships, putting the students in front of professionals like yourself, like myself now at this stage, and really pouring back into them and lifting them up along the way. But then also accountability, which is important. So that's our DNA model for our group mentorship programs, which is our second pillar in group mentorship. And then our third and really our breadwinner, our most revenue driver is brand development, where we have services, again, holistic. So we have personal development and professional development services. And most notably, really, I say 80% of our clientele comes to us for resume revitalization, LinkedIn rebranding, and interview preparation. Now, the end product of that is we've been able to place over 50 clients, and we're rounding out year two, coming up on 2-year anniversary. 50 clients across Fortune 500 companies, ranging from TikTok to Google to Tesla, and that's all internship and full-time opportunity. So that's Build and Brand You.
Yeah, that's a good ROI getting a job at one of those places.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
no matter what you're charging.
And we may charge $60 for a resume, but you may end up making six figures.
Oh man, you got to raise your prices right now.
We want to be very affordable for our target audience, but we
That's
all.
true. That's true.
I
Yeah,
remember being
you
a
just
college,
want to help.
right. I remember being a broke college student as well. Yeah.
Man, well that's wonderful. So yeah, you're almost a charity at those price levels. That's very nice of you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, as we continue to grow and develop and have more testimonials and bring on more clients and things of that sort, we'll definitely look to increase our prices all strategically. But yeah, and also one thing I wanted to say and share, be vulnerable and transparent, and that it isn't always bright. It all isn't always bright. One thing that I was saying earlier is what really stuck with me is being a walk on at Howard University. And really, the backstory to that is it really started my freshman year in high school, actually. So I went out for the junior varsity football team. I had been playing football with the same people that were on the junior varsity football team at my school, which is Bethel, actually the school that Allen Iverson went to as well. And yeah, I went out for the football team in my ninth grade year, and I got cut for whatever reason. I got cut, and I went out for running back and got cut for running back. So that was one of the most. It was definitely a low moment in my life, and I really had two options: fight or flight, as they say. And I decided to fight and really get in the best shape of my life and train hard and make no excuse the next time I got a chance. And when that chance came, my sophomore year, not only did I make the team for JV, but I also moved up to the varsity level and competed there as well. Fast forward to my senior year, another failure, or what will be looked at as a failure, but I don't necessarily look at it as a failure. I look
No,
at it,
failures are wonderful, man. Failures are stepping stones to success, and I'm so glad you're bringing these up.
yeah, and I agree, man. Failure is definitely just a lesson and a blessing in disguise, in my opinion, as well. And that failure, that stepping stone was I was being recruited from Division 1 schools, Division 2 schools, B3, NIAI, all of the divisions. And the best opportunity for me, which I ended up taking, was actually a preferred walk-on spot at Howard University. And actually, now that it's all coming back to me, I actually was sitting in a yeah meeting when I received the email. When I received the email from the coach at one of the coaches, or was a coach at Howard University, saying that he would want me to walk on and I have a spot on the team and everything was a go. So that's just crazy that I just remember that and it happened like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, but and it was again for walk on spot, and so I still just came in with a chip on my shoulder. And to be honest, if I didn't have that, if I didn't come on as a walk on, I probably wouldn't have been able to do as much from a business standpoint as I was able to. And really, to wrap us up here, it ended up working out. I ended up gaining a lot of professional experience, but I also achieved the goal that I had and promised my mother, which was receiving an athletic scholarship. And so I was able to do that. And yeah, man. So
Yeah.
just
Hey, by the way, there's no pressure to wrap up. I was just sort of feeling the flow like we were starting to take it in for a landing, but if you want to keep talking, let's keep talking, yeah.
no, I think that honestly was like the last thing that I wanted to get in there and make sure I get in there because a lot of people hear all when it's gravy, but they don't hear about the grit.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you brought that up. Yeah, it's normally a question I do ask is about give me an example of some failures, but I forgot to ask with you, and you brought it up yourself, so that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So now back to your business. What's the web address? How can they find you?
Yep. So it's www.buildandbrandyou.com. So build and then buildandbrandyou.com.
And it's the letter U or YOU at the end?
It's the word
The word U. YOU. Okay. Awesome. And then I know you gave me in the chat a couple of link trees which give multiple links to different things. I'll make sure I put those in the show notes where people can reach you. Probably. Well, tell us real quick what all are we going to find on your link tree?
Yeah. So there's two. There's my personal, and then there's the business. So with my personal, you'll see my Instagram, my LinkedIn, Twitter. You'll also see different speaking engagements that I've been able to speak at and speak with some great people. Notably, Chris Paul was one in there as well. So definitely watch that. That was a great segment on branding. And in the Build and Brand You link tree, that's all things Build and Brand You. So we have our website there. We have our inquiry form to inquire about our services. And we also have our social media handles there as well.
Awesome. All right. So our listeners know exactly how to get a hold of you if they have more questions or if they want to engage your branding services.
Yep.
All right. So now I think we're about to bring this thing in for a landing unless you want one last chance to drop any more knowledge.
I can't think of anything.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. That means we got it all out.
Yeah,
so, That's good. That's good. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate your time. It was wonderful meeting you. We are connected on LinkedIn now, so we'll be able to follow each other and keep up with each other's news and watch for future opportunities, maybe to work together.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure, man. Have a great night.
All right, you as well. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. That is all we have for you today. Whenever you feel lost, we'll be here to show you the way. Big thank you to Rockstars of Tomorrow in Frisco, Texas for the use of their state-of-the-art recording studio and for supporting our cause. Leave a review on your favorite podcast player or go to thegpsshow.com to be notified of every new episode.